Hi, and welcome to another episode of BRF Shorts On Us. So, we normally take our episodes, we're a serious podcast, guys. You all know that. But this episode is a joke. Why do you ask?
Okay.
Ask me why.
Why?
Very good. Because apparently the origins of our word for today come from what was supposedly just a big fat joke, and it is now possibly the most popular word ever.
Oh.
Yeah, our word this week is okay.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, cool. Okay.
And turns out that actually okay started off as a joke. So I think the late 1800s or the mid 1800s were just a time of great sense of humor, because it seems like there was a trend in Boston especially, where these young intellectual types would sort of walk around and they would misspell words but then abbreviate them to the misspelled word, and that would become that would come into common parlance. Well, not common parlance really, but like if you and I were in the know, then we'd be able to have this little like inside joke between us.
Yeah, like teenagers do, sniggering about things that other people are just like, why are you doing this? So do we have some examples?
Young intellectual types. Yeah. Yeah, we do. Of course we do. So we have, so they had KC, which was Nuff Said, which is KNUFFCED. So enough said will become Nuff Said, and that will become KC. They had KY, that was No Use, KNOWYUSE. It's a bit confusing, guys. And then you had All Right, which was OLL, and then right like WRIGHT, which is actually the grandfather to okay, because all right then also became all correct. So OLL, but like correct spelled with a K.
Oh.
And that is actually where okay kind of comes from. So now back in the mid 1800s, all correct was sort of this. It was the precursor to okay, not because it was being the precursor to okay, but all correct spelled correct, like in the correct sense, which is wow. It is very hard to do an audio episode with this. I feel like I'm spelling it out constantly, but ALLCORRET. ECT, also my spelling session. I think I really need props for this episode. Okay, but like all correct was, so in newspaper parlance, like, if you were just trying to say something was okay, you just say all correct. And then obviously these young guys decided that this would be a big fat joke. So, okay, all correct started happening. And at the same time, so this was one part of the joke. The joke does not end here.
Oh God, there's more.
Yeah, there's more to but thankfully I don't have to spell the rest of the joke out. But there was also a trend around the same time of creating these joke societies. Examples of these are Association of Bankrupt Insurance Companies, the Mammoth Cod Association, the Flowering Committee. So just like a bunch of like random things, of which one of them was founded in 1838, and it was called the Anti-Bell Ringing Society, which basically was against the ringing of dinner bells on the table.
Oh, okay.
So this society, the Boston Post decided to, for some reason, report on the antics of the society, and the writer included one of the favorite slang expressions of the Anti-Bell Ringing Society, which was okay, which stood for all correct, like we now know. And because the Boston Post was possibly one of the most popular daily newspapers in the 1800s, until it folded in about 1956, I think, it just caught on and people started using okay left, right and center, and it just became a thing because other newspapers started printing okay. So actually, and all of this time, remember, it is just okay, as in the two alphabets O and K. Okay, and then in 1840, Martin Van Buren, who was running for president,
of the US, sorry, obviously.
Yes, of the US. And he was reared in the New York town of Kinderhook. So his nickname was Old Kinderhook, which then translated into, and so he started using okay for his presidential campaign, and it created a bunch of these okay clubs. I don't think the campaign didn't really go his way.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, not that I know.
He didn't win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he lost. But by this time, now what had happened is this campaign sort of thrust okay even further into prominence, right? So now all of the other slang words that have come up, which I think are really great, and maybe someone should like bring them back. But everything else of the slang fad of the 1830s kind of died out. But okay now has come into more common use, and sort of people are seeing it more. And then you had a little invention called the telegraph that debuted 5 years after OK debuted. And now the telegraph used a system of dots and dashes, right? So what happened here is that, and this is what sort of cemented OK in sort of everyday use, because O and K were two letters that were very easy to type out and were distinct enough from each other to not be confused with anything else.
Oh, yeah.
So it became popular among operators to let people know when a telegram had been received. So it's actually in the way that O and K are depicted in the telegram system, it's actually what made them popular. So people, and that's how you just started saying tested okay, because okay just became, it was just like this non-committal, yeah, it's cool, it's come, yeah, it's happened, good job, or not even good job, but like super, okay, this is done, let's move on to the next thing. And then things picked up even further, not because of O, but because of just K. So as advertising picked up, suddenly people realized, you know what, not a lot of words start with K. So a lot of brands started changing hard C's to K's because they thought it would help them be more memorable. And it still does. You still have Kraft cheese, you have Kleenex, you have Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
And all of these have K's because when you saw it in a newspaper classified, the K would stand out and you'd be like, oh, Kool-Aid. Like all of these are memorable because of the K. If you spell them normally, no one gives who cares?
Now I'm also painfully aware of how many times I say okay in an episode. I mean, it's just in this one, I've said okay about 12 times. So
it's good to know you're counting.
Yeah.
And then sort of cementing the position of the word okay in the word Hall of Fame, which is something I have now invented right now.
Okay, good. I'm surprised there isn't already one. So good on you for finding something that wasn't already created. Trademark it.
But it was arguably one of the first words spoken on landing right after the moon landing, because as the spaceship touched down, they said okay, cleared something. I don't know, but okay was the word.
The rest isn't important. Everything was okay, and that's what's important.
Yeah, because they touched down and said okay, something. I can't remember, but they did say okay. And so now from here, all of this time, it's okay as in the two alphabets. So that means okay as in O-K-A-Y came after okay as in okay Jesus.
Okay Jesus, that's a new phrase. Oh, okay Jesus.
And so now okay and okay are both, they mean the same thing.
Yeah.
They are the same thing, and
let's leave it at that.
Surprisingly, the longer version of the word is the grandchild of the shorter version of the word.
Cool.
And also, just as an aside, as we're ending this segment, I am just going to say, in public service, while you can use okay and okay interchangeably and it's fine, and even when you're texting people, it's all good, never ever send somebody a text with just K.
Yes, please don't. It's rude.
Yeah, and terrible and just all kinds of horrible. So
yes, and it causes anxiety, so okay, and you don't want that. Okay, so just stop.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I was interested in the okay hand gesture, and I found some random things about it. I know we're going to cover a little bit about it later in the segment, but I did find some interestingly random things. So, in Japan, the one-handed ring gesture, which is the okay gesture, is used to symbolize money, which I can imagine because we use a similar gesture in India, don't we? We just use all four fingers rubbing against our thumb.
Oh, really? I only use the index and the thumb.
Do you? Oh, you're Japanese then. And in this context, the finger's circular shape, it represents a coin. So sometimes the sign is used to avoid the verbal awkwardness of talking about money or asking for money. So if you just in Japan just, did that to someone, you just be like subtly saying, "Can I have some cash, bro?" In other contexts, it can also be used to imply a bribe or other illicit financial transactions, or signal an invitation to enter into business negotiations. Cool. I might do that if I ever go to Japan.
Yeah, it's quite badass, no?
Yeah. And it the article that I was looking at, in other parts of the world, the gesture can also express money, financial transactions, wealth, or the priciness of an item. So, we humans have more in common than we think. Hand gestures being one of them. And this apparently is also practiced in Mexico during the late 19th century, this symbol to represent person's wealth or status. So that's one. Then, in a very related topic, monastic signing. So, is anybody interested in the monks? So, apparently dating back to the 10th century in Europe, the gesture of the thumb and forefinger forming a ring with the remaining fingers extending outwards was used in a set of standardized ecclesiastical signs used by Christian monks who had vows of silence.
Okay.
So, but they used it to represent religious rites and objects. So things that were specific to, religion and their worship. So apparently when touched to the mouth, it meant to take a meal, which I can see. It can also mean a cup of tea. When added to the open palm sign for book, it specified a hymnal, and the sign's O shape represented the singing of an O that began many hymns. I just realized when I was reading the article, when I came across this sentence, that a lot of hymns do start with O. Like, O come. Yeah, that's the first thing that we wrote the Christmas carol. And if the thumb and forefinger took hold of a specific part of one's own clothing, so this one is a gesture with a prop, such as the hood of a cowl or the lock of hair or a skin on the left hand, the gesture could stand for things as diverse as monk or horse or parchment. So,
why couldn't they just point to themselves if they were...
if we're going to do that, then why couldn't they just talk?
They had a vow of silence, I get that. I'm on board with that.
I don't stand for such things. They need to just open their mouths and speak.
Save everyone the hassle.
And the third and most interesting thing I found related to the word okay. Everybody knows about Ned Flanders, right? Come on, you've got to know about Ned Flanders of The Simpsons. So along with, the traditional usage of okay in popular fiction, like for instance, it was also used, a version of it, which I didn't know, but was invented by the creators of South Park, was okay.
Yeah, the principle.
Yeah. Okay. Please don't copy strike me, but so that's one of the things that was used in South Park. But in The Simpsons, Ned Flanders is the good-natured neighbor who is never unsettled by Homer Simpson's antics. So he has a catchphrase which includes the words "Oakley dokley," which is a very Ned Flanders thing to say. But I found a band. I wouldn't call them a tribute, but they call themselves a tribute band. So yeah, they are a tribute band. They're a Ned Flanders metal band called Oakley Dokley. And they've...
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know.
Also because the character they've chosen is as far away from metal as possible.
Yeah. And they're all dressed as him. So they've got the pink shirt and the green sweater vest over it and things. So they dress like him. They sing metal songs, and the lyrics of their songs a lot of them are derived from the words or sentences that Ned Flanders has said. So apparently in the 659th episode of The Simpsons, at the end, the closing credits were interrupted by a music video of this band of Oakley Dokley singing a song of theirs called White Wine Spritzer, which is again a very, cultists of Simpsons will know this particular line. So there's out there a Neddle band taken from Ned and Metal.
Did you make up that name?
No, they call themselves that.
Oh, okay.
They claim to be the world's first and only Neddle band. So if you're in the mood for a little Ned Flanders mixed with heavy metal and Neddle, just go and give Oakley Dokley a listen. I do like them though. They're good.
Okay, so adding to that list of potential interpretations for the hand gesture for okay, more recently, it turns out that...
I can't say it anymore.
It's a hard one. I think we just ruined this word for us. All correct.
Yeah.
As of 2019, the OK hand sign has been added to a list of hate symbols. Did you know that?
What?
I had no idea till now. Yeah, but the finger and thumb gesture is being used, has actually been appropriated by far-right groups as an expression of white supremacy.
Oh.
So to just give a little bit of context, this actually started as a joke, and in 2017, I mean not a good joke, but a bad joke. It started in 2017 as a hoax, where some users of 4chan, which is an anonymous online messaging board, began what they called was Operation OKKK. So, and the idea was that they wanted to trick the wider world, especially liberals and mainstream media, into believing that this innocuous gesture was actually a clandestine symbol of white power. And so they basically decided that they would go and they would flood Twitter and other social media websites with spam claiming that the OK hand signal was a symbol of white supremacy, and they sort of just wanted to spread the word as much as possible.
Yeah.
Now the hoax succeeded almost too well because neo-Nazi groups and Ku Klux groups and other white nationalist groups basically just began using the gesture in public to signal their presence and to spot potential sympathizers and recruits. So the letters for them formed by the hand were not O and K, but W and P for white power. And it sort of has been appropriated and swiftly weaponized by alt-right internet groups. And you've actually seen the gesture surface amongst a number of high-profile figures on the far right, including the shooter who was responsible for the Christchurch mosque attack.
Oh, in New Zealand.
Yeah. At his trial, while he was pleading not guilty to murder, he actually has the symbol for OK. He's held it up because, he's obviously... So he's using it as a symbol of white supremacy. So in 2019, the Anti-Defamation League added the hand gesture for OK to a list of other hate symbols, which includes the swastika and the Ku Klux Klan's burning cross. So, a lot of hate symbols actually come from really innocuous, a seemingly well-meaning gestures to begin with.
Yeah.
It's not like they were built with that, but they've been appropriated, and a lot of times, extremists will use this in a way to kind of signify their political leanings or their ideological leanings.
Yeah.
And so it's important that these signs kind of get, at least you're kind of aware of it, because if you see someone using them regularly, it could give authorities a chance to kind of just identify if somebody is sort of moving towards more extreme activity.
Yeah.
Having said that, guys, also the symbol for OK, the hand gesture for OK is something that we still, most of us just use it in its regular sense.
Yeah.
So it's important to also just realize that it's not always
hate speech.
It's not always, But at the same time, in current affairs, the symbol for OK now is also has been identified as a hate symbol.
Yikes. Oh, well, that's one thing. Well, I can at least say it. I just can't use the gesture. I don't think I have ever used that gesture intentionally, unless you count the time I was scuba diving in the Andamans, because that is a signal.
You have to use that, yeah.
Because if you use that signal for anything other than, I'm okay, it means if you use a thumbs up, that means you're ascending. So, yeah, you have to use the okay. So, as long as I'm excused for using it that one time.
Long disclaimer attached.
So, do you think the word okay is saucy?
No.
No, okay, good.
Could be.
It could be, because it is actually. There's a sauce called OK sauce here in the UK.
Oh God, what an unfortunate name.
I know.
For a brand.
It's just satisfactory, just like...
What's the sauce? Okay.
It'll do. It's a very British thing, actually. It'll do. But yeah, when I first moved here, I used to look at the Chinese, only on Chinese restaurant menus. They'd have this, chicken in OK sauce or whatever in OK sauce. And at first I was just like bemused by it, and I didn't think much of it. But when we thought of this word for this episode, I said I must go and look up the origin of this OK sauce. What does it stand for? Short story, not many people know. People who have bothered to even look it up haven't found anything of value to tell us exactly where this came from. But it's not a Chinese sauce. It's a British sauce, first produced by George Mason and Company before being acquired and manufactured by Coleman's, which is a big brand over here. The sauce dates back to before World War I, although the exact date is unknown. Around 1880 is what they say it could be from. The original sauce contained, wait for it, raisins, sugar, herbs, ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, shallots, and more.
Oh, yum.
Oh, I was just thinking, ew.
No, it tastes great in a duck or something.
Maybe. I'm just not a fond of sweet and savory. That's the thing. It's probably wonderful. I haven't tasted it, so I might have to do some research and taste it. But it was a pure sauce, not thickening agents or anything else was added, so it had to be refrigerated or whatever, or used quite quickly. And it was an award-winning British sauce. All the way back in 1911, it won a gold medal at the Festival of Empire exhibition. So, yeah, award-winning.
They could have just changed the name though, right? It's like talk about...
Haven't a clue why they named
I get
it.
humility and all, but...
Yeah, and it is OK. O.K. sauce. That's what it is. And on the bottle, in an old school ad, it said, Mason's delicious OK sauce, piquant and appetizing, of guaranteed purity and digestive merit. That's what you want in a sauce bottle. So soon it fell out of use in the 20th century and it was removed from most of the supermarket shelves by 1990. But interestingly, it was still produced for the Asian market. So this sauce that was British made is now exclusively used by Chinese restaurants, Asian restaurants here in the UK. And you don't get it in bottle form anymore. If you did, you'd probably be using it for Chinese food because that's what it's used for. It's become a staple and it's so associated with the Chinese market that you don't find it anywhere else. So that's interesting. I thought it was interesting for all our Brit listeners.
I thought it was delicious. I really like the sound
Oh,
of this.
good. Because there's a recipe for it, and it includes 250, most stuff that you could probably find at home. 250 mils of water, 4 tablespoons of brown sauce, 4 tablespoons of red sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of brown or white sugar, 1 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice, and 2 tablespoons of corn flour. Just bang them all together and bring to a boil, and that's your OK sauce.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. With that, we're at the end of this episode.
We hope you find it more than just okay.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we're at Barely Research Facts. There's a lot of stuff on there that goes up during the week that doesn't get into the episodes and some additional stuff. You can also find us on YouTube at ArtNowThus. Some of our older episodes are on there and we keep updating it. So go have a look if you're a listener on YouTube of podcasts.
Yeah. And we will see you next time.
See you.
Okay, bye.